Not really. It's a lie, actually, right? And this is called the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Or linguistic relativity. Do you mind that I do this? Show you things on the web? That's incredibly powerful. Yes? It is good. Yeah. Okay. So this is an argument, of course. How significant is the difference from one language to another, and how people think? Well, notice we do argue that there's roughly 7,000 languages right now in the world. We're losing them pretty quickly, though. And they want to defend them, protect them, find ways of keeping them alive, because each language is a result of a particular environment and its influence on the people living in that environment that develops a tool for people to survive in that environment. And if we lose the language, we lose the ability, the tools to survive in that environment. And we need these, right? All these different tools, right? So the more tools we have, the better. So let's protect the tools we have that have developed in all these different environments. But it's also pretty interesting to see what difference does it make in the way people think about things as a result of the differences in the language, the structure of the grammar, the structure of the vocabulary, the interrelationships of things. Some of it's just absolutely amazing when you get into it. It's fascinating. And different. And for example, when we talk about Aristotle's logic, which will come after Plato, right? Aristotle's logic is probably an invention from that time period. He probably built it on some things that he got from predecessors, but this is the first time that we have something like this, and we still teach it today in classes, right? But we think of it as Western languages. It's Greek influenced Latin and the other languages, so that many of the languages in Western, what we call Western Europe, and actually, I mean, Russian definitely has a lot of characteristics with Greek, right? They're all kind of Greek-based. And by the way, this is one of the reasons we say at universities, when you're going for a higher education, you go Greek. That's the connection there, that the Greek culture seems to have been the origination of this. And by the way, I would argue that Greek is not Western itself. When we talk about where this Western culture comes from, we pretty much argue that it starts with the moderns, so like Descartes and Hobbes, and from on that, right? But in any case, when we look at Greek logic, it requires the verb to be in order for you to use it. And so you end up with this interesting thing. Oops. We'll see this when we're talking about Aristotle. We'll go over it a little bit more, not in as much detail as you would get in logic, for example, but basically, how many people know how to create a true sentence? I read the news and listen to the social media and stuff, and it's like, so many people have not had logic anymore, even politicians. I'm not even talking about politicians that don't know even who they are, really. You know, that's kind of fun. We have one, you know. It's not really, I mean, he could be Anthony, but, you know, we don't really know who he is. He doesn't, apparently, know who he is. No, a true sentence has to be one of these four types of statements. You have to be showing that everything in this set is also in this set. Nothing in this set is in this set. Some of the things in this set are in this set. Some of the things in this set are not in that set. So those 4 types of statements, right? And notice that every single one of them requires this connector. Well, there are some languages that don't have that connector. Asian languages. And I believe, do you have an is in Alaska Native languages? I didn't think so. Yeah, because they're Asian in a sense, right? Well, if you don't have this connector, you can't do this kind of logic. How do you make a true sentence? You see the problem? There might be a problem here. You know, there are Chinese philosophers that try to discuss how you do this in, say, Chinese, for example, where they have pictographs that are objects of things that you can be metaphorical for things, but they don't have an is. So they can't say this set is in this set. This set is excluded from this set, etc. They can't do this. So strictly speaking, they themselves say they don't have true or false statements, but they do have what they think of as kind of pragmatic statements. Might not be true, might not be false, because they don't have those concepts, but they can say this statement is, well, I don't know how to say it. This statement is stronger than this one. I don't know how to do it. All my interest in languages were in European ones. Fascinating dilemma, though. So, you can see another issue where our computers, there are necktops coming from languages that are based in a system that allows for this, developed a different kind of logic than you would get, say, from China. And that's actually a real thing. There are folks really trying to figure out how to do that. When you have a contract and you agree to it, but they don't use true or false, how does that work? Then, right? You see the problem? So this is kind of cool. If you think of your brain as needing apps in your basic operating system in order to accomplish different tasks, incrementally, improvements on the kinds of tasks we can do with our brains evolved over the millennia, right? And philosophy is going to look at some of the significant app development, so to speak, as we go. Is this fun? Does it look valuable? Certainly seems so, actually. All right, so how do we, let's see, so how many people would like an A for the course? You write everybody's name down. Well, actually, you can. Everybody can get an A in this course, and I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone. So, I'll show you my assignments. Okay. We have exams. There are 3 exams, and the schedules are posted on the syllabus, so you can see when they're coming. But don't worry about being late. As long as I get everything before the end of the semester, that's still counted. No problem. But so I have 3 tests or exams, and they're already posted. And in each test, I give you 6 questions, and you pick 3 and write 300 words per question. And by the way, I grade the question by looking at the word count. And if you have 300 words, that's an A for that one. And then I read it. Sound easy? And if you use ChatGPT, I don't think I would be able to know. So, test 2 and test 3. No tricks. They're interesting questions, which I think will be fun for you to answer. So you probably don't want to cheat. You probably want to actually answer the question, especially since you know I'm grading you on the word count. So you don't have to feel like, well, gee, if I say this, it might be wrong. You don't have to worry about that. Say what you think. Say what excites you. The reason I'm using this is because, well, I want you to write what you think on the question. And I'm not really worried about whether you get the answer right or wrong, because I'm not sure there is a right or wrong to most of these questions. Do you have free will? God is all powerful. All those kind of things. Okay, so there's 3 tests. You see how to find them, right? Easy. We also have a term project, which some of you have already emailed me, or at least some folks have emailed me, picking who they would like to do. You don't have to worry if you want to do C.S. Lewis and your friend does C.S. Lewis, that's fine. You both can do C.S. Lewis. You can do that. The list I have of the philosophers, shoot, I can't see it. Oh, here it is. So I have a list of philosophers. My goal was for them to be living, contemporary philosophers that are dealing with the same kind of issues that you would be expecting to deal with yourself. So Plato kind of is dead. Socrates, even better, far more dead actually, than Plato. So pick somebody that's still alive, although some of the people on my list have died since then. Like Pope Benedict died just, 2 weeks ago? As you might have heard. Yes. None of these are people that haven't been born yet. They're all relatively famous in the circle that I'm trying to introduce you to. So go ahead and look at some of them. Here's A.C. Grayling. You can go and visit these people. His hair is, I'm so jealous of his hair. Is it okay if I say that I think the sexiest philosopher? Can I say the sexiest philosopher? It's not illegal, right? Where is she? Martha Nussbaum. Here she is. Well, she's my age now, but you should have seen her years ago. Woo. She was amazing. Okay. So now the thing is, 3,000 words. So that's a lot of words. And a lot of you probably haven't written papers that are that long. But that's okay. Try it. You'll see once you get started, especially if you end up really liking the person. And it's not like you have to say, Martha Nussbaum is the sexiest philosopher. That's up to you. You can say that. That's okay. But if you don't want to say that, you can say other things, and actually it's your opinion. So can you be wrong if it's your opinion? I'm asking for your opinion, right? So 3,000 words. So I count 3,000 words, A for you. People sometimes send me like 2,600. I email them back and say, can you add 400 more words? I hate doing math, And then, they send me 400 more words. Please don't just copy from the words you've already used and paste 2 or 3 more times. That happened to me once, and I learned my lesson, so now I say, no getting away with that. They have to be new words. Okay? that's fine. And the reason I think this way is because my experience learning Russian taught me that all learning, except for some that require like using tools and things, but even like nursing, where you're using tools, but you're learning the vocabulary so that you know which tool is which, what it's for, in what situation you might use it, etc. Right? You're learning vocabulary. So all of these, in kind of a linguistic approach, is learning a new vocabulary. And what I'm hoping you will do, yes?
Is this also graded on completion? Is it just as long as you write the 3,000 words, you will get an A? Like, is it like the essays, or is it different?
Yes, same. And by the way, the quizzes are different. I ask quizzes. I'll ask a quiz today, and please email me your response to it. And I might as well do that now, right? Let me do the quiz question for today. Is that all right? Is this one of the things I'm going to do next? Let's go to a quiz, because that's right. So exams we talked about, term project, and quiz. So I do a quiz question each day, and what I want you to do is email me your response to it. And there's no word requirement other than, well, you have to say something, right? But they're thought-provoking questions. So for example, today what I'd like to ask you is, what are the 10 Commandments? So people will ask me, you mean that it's the stone tablets that Moses came down, from the mountain with? No, that's not what I mean. I mean, what are the 10? You remember what the 10 Commandments are. If you've never studied them, that's okay. You just say, I never studied them. In my culture, we might have a parallel set, which are kind of similar, right? But nonetheless, what are the 10 Commandments? You don't have to get all 10 of them right. In fact, since you're going to go home and write the email, if you're not already emailing me, right? What you could do is say, well, these are the ones I remembered. But now that I looked them up, oh yeah, here's the other 6 or whatever, right? Well, what's interesting to me is if you've studied them before and you memorized them as a kid, but today when I suddenly pop the question, what are they? You can't remember them. Not all of them, probably. It's kind of funny, if you're from Eagle River, they usually have an average of 6 correct. If you're from Anchorage, they usually have an average of 4 correct. I don't know why there's such a difference, but it's kind of interesting. But the point I'm trying to make is, once we start talking about them and go to, like, my notes, and we go to